My name is Rhett Butler, and welcome to a great innovative series by the Gateway Community Development Corporation. Um, as a member of the lab specifically, it's always amazing to me to be with a bunch of creative entrepreneurs, artists that have decided to house and work within the Gateway. And I'm with one today, a creative entrepreneur I've known for a long time, watched his growth, and introduced him to the Gateway in a entrepreneurial fashion. You know, obviously he's from the region, as you'll learn, but in entrepreneurial fashion. So I'm here today with Brian K. Burns III, creative entrepreneur, man of many talents. But today we're going to speak specifically about what he's learned and what we all can learn about artificial intelligence and AI 101, the evolution of AI and empowerment to learn. Brian, what's up, my guy?
My guy, Rhett. Good to see you, brother. Good to be here, man.
Absolutely.
It's been a long time coming, bro. We've been doing it. I'm excited. How you been? How you been?
Oh man, I've been inspired, encouraged, and more than anything, I'm really happy that we're going to be giving these people the knowledge today. The fact that we're going to start from the nadir, right? The beginning of this, and really give
Yeah.
people an education, because at the end of the day, change is scary.
Yeah.
Evolution is even scarier to those who feel unprepared. So I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of fear surrounding something that is a relative unknown, but now becoming very ubiquitous in culture and society. So we want to dispel any fears and anxieties and allow people to understand how to really step on in. And I know you're going to have more conversations about this to get a little more granular. So today we're going to give a great overview and really help people that don't understand ease into this AI. So I want to start real simply. Brian, what is artificial intelligence?
Yeah, man. So AI at its core is a broad field of just computer science dedicated to creating machines that can perform tasks typically, requiring human intelligence. So basically what that means is there's a human behind a computer coding whatever is in that human's mind, right? So we're taking our imagination and pretty much 10xing it. And I like to just keep it with that one sentence and not over explain it, just kind of keep it very simple. It's a human creating their imagine or bringing to life their imagination through coding. And now AI has become open source. It's always been around, but now the common folk have now have their hands in it. So it's been very viral. It's been everywhere. People are using it to be more efficient. People are using it to be more creative, and people are realizing, how much they can get done with using AI. And I think that's the main focus that we want to kind of talk about today. It's just pretty much this framework. Why is it important, and where do we see it going in the near future? So, yeah.
Very. I'm glad you said that there's a human behind because I think some people think a younger version of Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to pop out, and then all of a sudden we're going to meet John Connor, or we're going to decide
Right.
who's Neo, and then that person's going to be the savior of the day for a pending
Right.
doomsday future or something. But it's interesting. You said to me earlier before we started this that AI has been around for a minute, and now it's just accessible to the layman, not in the
Yeah.
scientific community. Explain that a bit. How long has this been around, and why is it now more easy, or to your point, open source for people to be able to tap into its benefits?
Yeah, man. So like when you look at it, AI has been around. I'll give you one example. The traffic light. Obviously it was made by a black man, and then it evolved
Right.
into growing into the masses. But if you look at how the public transportation controls the traffic light, that's AI powered. They're using technology to essentially big brother us and watch us and make sure that everybody can flow, everybody can get into where they need to be, and that is powered by AI, right? So there's a lot of useful AI that we may think that we're not even using, but we use it every day. Another example is when you are um, you know searching things on the internet, and, and you're looking for something, and then you realize the next day or a couple hours later that search that you were thinking about or looking about, now you see an ad, or now you see this. These are all just small examples of how AI is used to be more efficient in our lifestyle. And we just got to lower that fear, right? Now, the biggest thing that people, I would say, are more excited about is what it can do, right? Now,
Mm.
you got the big witch Chat GPT, you got Google Gemini, you even got X with Gronk. It's a lot of tools, as I call them, tools, because they're merely just tools,
Mhm.
tools to make your life efficient. I used to work for Apple, and one of the models was, how can we make our customers' lives easier? Right? The only way we can do that is we make or code products and tools that push us to a certain limit, to where we could get it as a human to a certain point, and then the AI or the tool can get us to the next point. And at the end of the day, it's about being efficient. I want to emphasize that so much. If you can use AI to duplicate yourself, if you can use AI to get more things done, you'll be surprised about how great these tools are if you just learn how to use them. So we have been around AI for decades. We're just now being on the other side of it.
Yeah, I'm glad you made that point. I think generationally, you're going to have the younger generation that feels more comfortable with tech overall. So I think it's a natural progression in terms of the use
Yeah,
of AI. But of course,
yeah,
if you look back, folks that have been working a lot longer and they feel like they have
yeah,
learning, um, just there's a little bit of a learning curve in relation to AI. I think they definitely are the ones that probably have a little trepidation with the pop culture and the influence now of AI and its broad range usage. So I'm glad you said that, because for those people who are thinking anxiety wise about this opportunity, it's great that you're dispelling those fears. Um, it's interesting. As AI continues to evolve, there has to be some level of ethical challenge. I mentioned Terminator earlier to be funny, but at the end of the day, there is a real fear that we're empowering an unknown computer to think like us on so many levels that one day it's going to realize we are obsolete, or maybe even in the way, as Terminator's whole premise was, right? I can make
yeah.
a better world if I get humanity out of it, because we are also folks that have emotions and other things that might impede progress from a technical standpoint or software standpoint. What are your
Right.
thoughts on this? And do you think there's any credence to that as a concept?
So, you know, my thoughts on it is this: everyone knows right from wrong, everyone knows good and evil, right? You can't really um, control someone's usage. However, you can build the tech to stop certain things. And I have examples of that. And we'll get into that later. I have actual tools, AI tools that we're using, certain students, they don't want them to create AI that like promotes mass shootings or promotes evil behavior, things of that nature. But from its core, you gotta just trust or have faith that nobody will use this with malintent. But before we get
That's
there, I
right.
want to talk about the four types of AI, right? And this is something that I've learned because, you know, when you see AI now, all you see is good, cool images, dope viral videos, things of that nature. But the four types of AI are multimodal,
Okay.
agentic, embodied, and AGI. So let's start with multimodal. Multimodal is what we all know as generative AI, right? So you got your image generation and you got your video generation, right? And it's really cool because this is where we can explore. This is where we can be the most creative. This is where we can be pretty much we can bring really, our motto back in the day was bringing visions to life. You now can literally think of something, have an imagination, be a kid again, and really bring it to life. So, when we were talking about, the older generation, this is a tool where they can literally take thought and bring it to life, right? I don't think they ever had a tool that powerful as they were coming up. So that's something to think about. Then you have agentic AI. Agentic AI is AIs creating other AIs. Why is that important? So if you're a teacher, for example, or educator, and you teacher burnout is crazy right now. They never have enough time to grade papers, meet with meet all their make all their deadlines, meet all the parents, all that good jazz. Agentic AI allows them to build agentic models, to help them grade papers while they're over in a meeting, or they missed the meeting. They could get all the source materials, put it inside of an AI that can generate a whole timeline of events that will help them do their job efficient. So it kind of reduces the burnout, gives them more time to actually be an educator. And body is really more like STEM labs, using AI, going out into the world, getting real case studies, bringing it back, pushing it out, using multimodal and agentic as their foundation to push
Right.
out more real world examples. And then you got the big one, which is AGI, right? Quantum AI, right? That's what the military uses. Um, a great example is the stoplight that I share with you. Those are all operating off of some type of energy, or some type of what is it called, a not a server, but the quantum, what's the thing that I can't think of it right now. However,
Like a spectrum or something?
um the energy, the big
The grid.
the grids, yes, the grids. When you think of a so then you have lastly AGI, quantum AI. And quantum AI is really, the high powered AI that you guys see, right? So you got the energy coming from these grids, satellite data, all of this data at the highest of highest powers, with our government, with our military. I recently just got back from the AI Expo, and they were speaking heavily about quantum AI and AGI, and how we're moving more into utilizing AI in our military operations, because it allows us to scale more, it allows us to do more. But
Right.
with these four types of AI, what we're seeing and what everyone is seeing is we don't have enough energy for it. We don't have enough power for it, right? So when you look at it, it's on one end, it's a booming industry. On the other end, we don't have enough capacity to even output this industry. And it raises a very unique question, because it's like, okay, what are we doing about it as humans, right? And it goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning. How can we lower the fear? Okay, well, I'm gonna be a little controversial here. We all have mixed reviews about the man in the White House and what he's doing, but in the broad scope, what he has done specifically for AI is he has signed an executive order demanding and mandating that AI must be in K through 12 education. That's one.
That's
He
good.
also did Project Stargate, which is one of the largest developments in Texas, specifically for servers and AI, these data centers. Data centers are becoming the new wave. It's between data centers and walkable communities. If you have those two things in your neighborhood, you are futuristic at this point. So, so you got the EOs, you got the Project Stargate, then you also have what you have the global exchange where Dubai is going to be building one of the biggest AI infrastructures as well. So when we talk about, okay, all this AI stuff is happening, we can't do this, we can't do that. Wait a minute. They are actually building the infrastructure to be able to produce at a high level with AI. So it will behoove all of us to get involved because you can't fear something if you don't know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, then it can do anything they want to you. They can do anything they want to you. But if you know how to use it, you can combat it and say, oh, that's being used for evil and this is being used for good. And then we can now play a hand in the regulation of what AI can be. We've all seen what's that Will Smith iRobot, right? But that was almost 20 years ago. That had
Yeah.
everything that we're going through right now. That was all in iRobot. So you can't tell me that AI came out of nowhere. We've seen it. We've seen it happen. We've seen it 20 years ago. So all they're doing is just slow walking this, right? They've also realized that we not only have we expressed a lot of interest, but we don't have the bandwidth yet.
Mm.
So I encourage every creative, every entrepreneur, every one that lost their job, everyone that is still, bouncing back from COVID, learn how to use AI because it can magnify, it can be intentional, and you can really scale yourself. And I look at AI as the ultimate equalizer, right? Because they haven't even scaled it out yet to a
Mm.
capacity to where we can say, okay, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, all AI. So it's still a lot of human control that is behind this, and we need to pay attention and we need to get involved. So
Yeah,
those are
this
the
is
four types.
I love it, man. It's interesting. So I just Googled that, and you're absolutely right. iRobot came out in 2004. So
Right.
that is a 21-year-old concept at this point, which is pretty incredible how fast that happened because it definitely feels like it wasn't that long ago. And it's interesting that
Yeah.
you mentioned quantum and the fact that we're here in Prince George's County because literally the largest quantum assets pretty much in the country, not named Silicon Valley, are at University of Maryland's Discovery District. And the most well-funded quantum company in the world, which is IonQ, is at University of Maryland College Park's campus, which is pretty amazing right here.
Yeah.
Shout out to them and
Yeah.
also Quantum Startup Foundry and Q Labs and University of Maryland is huge with that. So being here in Prince George's County, knowing that AI and quantum
Yeah.
have an intersectionality is really, really fortuitous for all of us as artists if we can figure out a matrix that allows art to kind of combine with that. And then additionally, what's awesome is that Governor Wes Moore has pledged, I believe, $100 million quantum fund for companies that
Mm-hmm.
are going to bring quantum businesses here and any intersectionality with AI, as well as with TEDCO,
Mm-hmm.
Maryland's technology arm, which is investing in tech businesses of all sorts of shapes and sizes. Right here's the place to be for all of this. So I'm saying all that to say for those who might not have known, if you're here in
Yeah.
Maryland and Prince George's County, you made the right decision because everything Brian just said is literally the future, and the future is now. This is not a 21-year ago thinking. The money's here, funding wise. Wes Moore believes this is going to be an income driver for the state as well as job creator, and there's nothing but overlap in every single thing. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, I'd say right now,
Absolutely.
people know AI from its common usages with ChatGPT, with DALL-E and Gemini and all that kind of stuff, and then you go even further into real world application on the street level with Waymo and the self-driving cars. But is there anything else on the horizon that you've noticed or you see will be a new trend in terms of AI's popular usage for regular life and culture?
Yeah, I think there's a big opportunity in education right now. Because there's a generation, I'm in my mid-30s, right? So I still remember dial-up, right? I still remember having to wait to get on the internet. I still had a Nextel chirp, I had a flip phone, I had all of that good stuff. But I also grew up in the MySpace era, the Facebook era, where
Right.
you had to essentially code your own, your own website, right? What I see is there's kids that only know tech. They
Exactly.
were born into tech, right? We have parents who essentially their iPad raises their kid, right? So there's pros and cons to that. But I do see there's a big opportunity in education. And here's why. Because of that EO that we have, right?
Hmm.
There's on one spectrum, teachers underpaid, not looked at as um, a job that you can further your career in. I
Absolutely.
see that AI can make teachers entrepreneurs, right? And here's
Mm.
why: because these tools, if taught properly, you can teach a kid or a student to scale themselves and also learn about their future self. I was on Instagram the other day, and um, I saw a teacher use a specific AI. I'm not going to name that AI only because I want to protect her, but
Sure.
she basically had a moment with the students where she asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And we've all been asked this. What do you want to be when you grow up? Kids, soccer player, basketball player, scientist, uh, so on and so forth, right? Had the kid prompt, I want to be a scientist. They upload a photo of the student, and then boom, the kid is whatever age, 30 years old, in a scientist fit, looks like his future self. Now, that's something very simple, but why is that important? We just made that kid, we just empowered that kid to go chase his dream using AI. He did not know, he or she did not know what it was going to look like, how she was going to feel, so on and so forth. So, this is why I feel as though education, if when done properly, we can expound and empower the next generation to use it properly so we won't have any problems. We won't have any problems, right? And I had something that I want to share with you guys, and it was, let me see if I can pull it up. But you've heard about this, Rhett, uh when we was all coming up, the three R's, right? Reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? I really believe, right, that the three R's have evolved to what I call the five C's. Okay.
Hmm.
So you got reading, writing, and arithmetic. The first C, curiosity. The second C, creativity. The third C, critical thinking. Fourth C,
Okay.
collective caring. And the fifth C, consciousness.
Yeah.
That's where I think we have evolved to. And the reason why my team and I picked those five C's is curiosity. I mean, that's just a kid. A kid is naturally curious. So
every
you
day.
give him a tool to where he or she can imagine. That's a beautiful thing. Creativity. Talking about your generative AI, both
Yeah.
image and video. You can be literally whatever you want to be now. Then you have your
It's
critical
true.
thinking. Critical thinking is important with AI because now you take in reading, writing, and arithmetic. Those are the basic things. But while I'm curious and while I'm creative, am I being critical and am I creating things that are useful? So now you're pushing, now the teacher is pushing the student to think critically like, is this good or is this bad? Right? Then you have your
Yeah.
collective care. I kind of look at this as like your wellness and your wholeness, right? To where
Mhm.
doing this empowerment, you are making them realize, hey, you're steering this ship. And if
Right.
you don't think about this, and that, this shit will crash. So, and then lastly, consciousness, right? Which I think is missing in schools right now. We can teach consciousness at a greater level now than we ever could because not only can we disseminate information quicker, we can ask more intentional questions instead of going line by line in the textbook. We're not
Right.
regurgitating anymore. We are actually coming together and figuring out ways holistically how can we put this together and how can we put that together. So that's where I see the
Mm.
opportunity in education where we can change the narrative by having these 5 C's as our baseline principles, just like we have reading, writing, and arithmetic, if that makes sense. So it
Oh, it
can
makes
grow
perfect sense.
to
Yep.
different types of AI. I foresee whatever we're using now is going to evolve, and kids like your son are going to be creating new AIs in the agentic
Hmm.
realm, and it's an opportunity. Now your son can create a whole code for AI. A company can purchase that. Now he's an entrepreneur. So we're
Indeed.
building all of these different types of models. And I think we have to look at it from an education standpoint first, just like we learned about reading, writing, and arithmetic. So that I want to go further later in our other webinars, but I want to keep it at that framework, placement, because I think it's really important for us to focus on, okay, the baseline, and then how is it affecting the baseline, and then from there, how's it going to affect the next generation? Because they're our future leaders.
Yeah, I love this. I mean, I like the remix on the traditional learning module with the 5 C's. And then
Yeah.
additionally, it's interesting because, my sister is an assistant principal and she's been, really learning a lot more on how to integrate AI into her students' lifestyles. And one thing I know she did was she taught them how to build chatbots, and all that kind of stuff. And I know that did really well for him. She taught them how to build apps, chatbots, like the whole nine. And she's a African American studies as well as history teacher that because of her learning within the AI sphere, she's now realized like this is, to your point, is the new frontier in terms of what's coming for the youth because you can't get away from it. Like at the end of the day, the kids are going to utilize AI
Okay.
regardless. So you can either wag your finger and look for a traditional learning module, or you can lean into what's number one has their interest right now, they're passionate about, and three, how to make it work within the classroom in a way that also enhances your ability as a teacher. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
you said that. And I think as more teachers lean into that, you might, start to get more passion back into the game. I know a lot of teachers are
Yeah.
like they're being mistreated, not appreciated. They're losing the students in a wide capacity for many reasons associated with the fact that the proliferation of technology and opportunities and access. So kids are kind of
Yeah.
tuning out traditional learning models. So I think that's a great point. Additionally, I would say, speaking specifically to the artist community,
Yeah.
you have a lot of traditional artists. You have a lot of folks that might not know yet how to incorporate artificial
Mm-hmm.
intelligence into their artistic economy and artistic
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship. How would you suggest, practical usages for AI within the creative economy?
Yeah, so ChatGPT is an amazing resource. Google Gemini. I just recently got back from Google headquarters, and then we took a tour at the robotics department at Stanford University. And one of the biggest things is ChatGPT, Gemini, Dolly, all these tools allow you to take what's in your head as a creative,
Right.
break it down, compartmentalize it,
Hmm.
and then dish it out. Now, the cool thing is, um, the turnaround time has changed, right?
Okay.
So when you look at when before, as a creator, I'm in production, right? So the way I see AI helping the production industry is, we'll be able to do more work,
Right.
right? We'll be able to do a lot more things than we've ever could. I recently did a apprenticeship, internship, and apprenticeship program with Creative Works in the Gateway Media Arts Lab here in Prince George's County in the Arts District. And one of the biggest things that I wanted to teach the students was for fruition, ideation, creation, and execution. Why is that important? Because creatives, we ideate all the time. All we do is create
Yeah.
cool ideas, blah, 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 right? But we don't have a good way of recording all of that,
Right.
right? So like using ChatGPT, using Gemini to help us with that is a great resource. Because it kind of becomes our AI assistant a little bit,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
then helps us organize, and then you then have the resources. It's almost like making yourself smarter, but you're really not making yourself smarter, you're just being more efficient.
Absolutely.
You get what I'm saying? So like AI reminds you how smart you are,
Right.
and then it challenges you to keep going, right? So if you can't get to that piece, then you gotta play around with it a little bit more, right? But creatively, um, Dolly, man, I've seen even in Mid Journey, man.
Mm.
I've seen so much creativity. I've seen so much imagination come to life, and what I encourage the creative community to really, really hone in. If you need a team, agentic AI is your best friend.
Okay.
If you need a um, graphic, Chat GPT, Gemini is your best friend. If you need some edits, there's a bunch of editing platforms that you can participate in. However, though, it is not going to do the work for you. I want to stress that
Right.
so much, right? I want to stress that so much. As much as I want to sit here and just give people a list of AIs, go play with this, go play with that. No, you are still in control,
Right.
and nothing gets done without your imagination. Nothing gets done without your creativity.
Mm.
So that is so important for me. And I'm still young, but I really encourage all of my fellow creatives, don't be scared, because AI is not going to take your job. The person that knows how to be efficient with AI will take your job. So we're not even thinking about it right.
Mhm.
We're not even thinking about it
Right.
right. We have to look at it from a standpoint. This is a business opportunity. This is a business model. Every business model evolves, and we're at that junction right now. So if you don't want to thoroughly immerse yourself, hey, that's all you. But you cannot get mad at people moving forward when they are utilizing the tools that are free to everyone, right?
That's right.
Because there once was a time when it was closed source, right?
Mhm.
we are now seeing it open up, and think about what they're not showing us.
Right.
Think
Big
about
time.
what they're not showing us, right? Think about what they're not allowing us to see. And I want to also make this point. It's not that they're hiding anything. It's about, you see the excitement in the last couple years. Imagine if we had this for 10, 20 years in our hands like this, the world will go crazy. World will go crazy because they'll be so surprised that they can create this much. And then everybody becomes a business person. Everybody becomes an entrepreneur. Everybody becomes this. Everybody becomes that. If you don't have a vision, AI still won't help you.
Right.
Still won't help you. Now, it may get you, in front of this person, in front of that person with a beautiful written proposal, but it's not going to replace you. You still, right, you're a businessman. You still got to show up in person. You still got to slam
Yes.
dunk that deal. You still, so figure out what holes you have in your process and in your business, and then identify that first. Then from there, just do your Google searches. What AI can I use to help me build my calendar? What AI can I use to help me with these emails? What AI can I use to compartmentalize your very creative brain? Something I have to do all the
Right.
time, right? So for me, learn it, get involved, you know, go to those events. I just went to an Adobe event not too long ago, and I watched a guy, CJ Vega, super talented artist from Baltimore, Maryland. He did his own movie, all AI. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not, award winning, but
Yeah.
the fact that you are able to sequence and create a finished product using AI is the art.
Yeah.
Is
It's
the art. You get what I'm
Yep.
saying? It's revolutionary. Like, you know how it is in the industry. Man, post-production, rotoscoping could take 6 months.
That's right.
Now you have tools like Kubrick.
Mm.
Cuebric. Kubrick is one of the AI tools that we had these kids in our apprenticeship program uh, utilize to go from ideation to creation and execution. So they had to ideate a story, create the story, and then present the story, all using Kubrick. And Kubrick is an AI tool that production companies will love. Foregrounds and backgrounds is what they specialize in, right?
Mm.
So now in real time, you can prompt your setting. In real time, you can say, I want a horse over here and I want a beach over here.
Mm.
Put it all together.
Interesting.
Back in the day, which is not long ago, you used to have someone, you used to send it to LA, send it to Georgia. Someone has to literally rotoscope the clouds, literally rotoscope the beach, literally rotoscope the horse. Bro, that's gonna take forever, right?
It's
We don't have the
multiple.
patience. Money moves too fast now, right? So when you look at it, AI is just gonna allow us to be more efficient. And if you love efficiency, then your business will grow. It's a business model, right? No more lazy creatives. You can't be. You can't be anymore. You could do the bare minimum and still create excellent work. So it's no excuse. It's no excuse.
No, it's a beautiful thing, and I like the fact that you're putting the spotlight back on the creative to use the
Always.
tool advantage and not use the tools as a cop out to say that this is going to overtake me. You're saying, look, this can make you more efficient. Number one, so all those, I'm an artist, so I need people that are going to be play bigger roles on the team, can now be supplemented possibly by AI and enhance the teamwork energy if you're using it the right way. So I really appreciate that. It's interesting. Earlier in June 2025, there was a controversy, and I'm gonna read this headline so you know exactly where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Timberland, the music producer, launches AI music company Stage Zero with first AI artist Tata. Uh,
Yeah.
we know that for those who've been paying attention, Timberland is a multi-Grammy award-winning producer that's produced all the biggest names that we've all know: Jay-Z, Justin Timberlake, the list goes on. Of course, Missy Elliott, where he started. And not too far from here, by the way, Tidewater, Virginia native, Virginia Beach, I believe.
Yeah.
But he's now making headlines because, one, I believe he was accused of stealing a beat from somebody and using it to source reference into the AI programming so that this AI can start to learn how to think in a producer style that he liked and possibly emulate it. And I'm doing air quotes because I don't know if that's what the intention was, but that's what he was being accused
Right.
of, where the fear is coming from. And then
Yeah.
additionally, he's now saying that his first artist, Tata, is coming, and that Tata is in essence something that he's created from AI or utilizing AI as his tools. And then immediately he had an online, and I implore everybody to go to YouTube and find this conversation. I believe he had a Instagram live conversation for all of us to see with music engineer, recording
Mm-hmm.
engineer, um, what is my man's name? Young
Swiss
Guru.
Beats. Oh, Young
Yeah,
Guru. Got
yeah.
you.
Swiss Beats did join the conversation, but it was Young
Yeah.
Guru actually wanted to challenge Timberland because his fear was you're going to replace real musicianship and real artistry by teaching these tools how to replicate people that are unreplicable, like a Thelonious Monk or a Miles Davis or any other XYZ musician that helps create the melodies that people sample in their world. And then also Swiss Beats jumped in to kind of chime in and defend Timberland and talk about what they were doing, because there was also, sort of an energy that was saying, like, when they did Versus and then sold it, was that in essence creating, musical competitions to just sell it out to another corporation. At any rate, these guys are utilizing what they believed. When you look at Versus alone, it really catapulted during the pandemic, and people were looking at that as a new form of entertainment and also a way for older artists to reuse catalog and stay relevant. And then now with Timberland continuing on an innovative path with Tata and his Stage Zero company, what are your thoughts on the fact that a person like Timberland is even saying, I could even forego dealing with humans, so to speak, create an AI concept musical sound, market it as a real person, and change the scope of the way music is even created in artistry?
Yeah, man. I think he's just in tune and in line with his artistry, and he wants to get back to the creativity, right? And I think that's important. I think we kind of lost ourselves a little bit. I think we got so lazy and so used to just hearing the same 808s and the same this, the same that. I think he just wanted to figure out a way to, like, okay, how can I streamline my creativity? Right? Because, like, talking to a human, right? Everything is emotionally driven, right? So that's great. But then on the other side, we know that music, it has a certain algorithm, right? And we're all trying to crack the algorithm code, right? I think he just wanted to experiment and say, all right, cool. I'll create an algorithm to go inside of the algorithm and let's see what it does. That's creativity to me. Now, to get people on board, to get people to make this AI artist one of the top artists, I can sense and see that, like, all right, what are we really doing here? So he's pushing the needle and pushing. He's what I call on the bleeding edge, right? He's on the bleeding edge of saying, hey, we got this tool, right, y'all? We all got bad deals over here, but will this AI have a bad deal? We don't know.
Right.
But let's see if it can crack the code or break the algorithm. So I think, it takes, just like they did with Versus, it takes someone jumping out the window, right? As entrepreneurs, we all say it, like, hey, there's that moment where you gotta fly. You got to jump out the window and take that risk. So I think, when you look at Timberland, he's at the highest pinnacle of his career. I mean, he really can't do that much more to make you feel like he's the greatest, right? So now I think those types of people, right, they want to hop in new industries and see if they could be the greatest in that industry. So I just think that he's just on that bleeding edge, trying to push the industry to do more with the opportunity that has presented itself. And this is the best time to do it. This trial and error moment, this trial and error time during regulation, this trial and error time to seeing what's possible. Now we did see an example of that. I forget. I want to say a major label created an AI artist, didn't tell nobody, and then like push it out there. I don't know. I forget. I don't know. You remember that? I don't know if you remember that, but it was.
I kind of do. I don't remember the song or the name of the person, or the name of the concept, but I do remember that a bit. Yeah.
So I think there's a again, that's that emotional human thing that we have. Okay, Timberland kind of did the same thing, but he just told everybody. He just told everybody. So that's where that, going back to the 5 C's, that consciousness, like, all right, okay, I'm gonna tell y'all, but I'm hopping in this game because I want to win in this game. We see a lot of a lot of talented people lose in this game because they're not paying attention or streamlining the creativity and the business.
Indeed.
Right? So like, I think, viral moment, but let's spin it into something that's cool that can actually help. Because when you talk about even, I mean, going back, the Tupac hologram, that was AI.
Exactly.
Right?
Right. That was.
So, and that was bleeding edge. Nobody told, you know what I'm saying? So like, it's all about where can we go with it? How can we use it for good? How can we help us getting into a position of equalizing this wealth gap that we have? Because as the Black and brown community, we have done great things, but I don't think we have figured out a way to close the wealth gap. And I think AI.
And I wanted to, and you were talking about the Black wealth gap, but I wanted to interject and just to close out the Timberland thing, because he made a quote that I thought is really important for people to hear, especially the artists. Timberland said of Tata, his AI artist, she is not an avatar. She is not a character. Tata is a living, learning, autonomous music artist built with AI. Tata is the start of something bigger. She's the first artist of a new generation. A-pop, which is what he's calling this genre of music, is the next cultural evolution, and Tata is his first icon. So to your point, Timberland being a Black man, he's basically saying, I'm closing the wealth gap by creating not only this new music form, but a whole new genre that can easily be tapped into. Please elaborate.
Yeah, man. And that's when we talk about new creative ways, going back to 5C, curiosity and critical thinking and creativity, right? He's embodying all of that in one, right? And we have to empower. That's all he's doing. We talked about it earlier. He's hit a certain pinnacle of success.
That's
right? To where he's now saying like, oh man, doing this over there in the studio is kind of boring now. Like, let's see if we can take it to a whole nother level. Let's see if we can actually get more percentages on our deals. Let's see if we can actually really make some real money and really close this wealth gap. Let's turn ourselves into these own record labels. Let's turn ourselves new models, right? It's just new models. It's just being fearless and saying, hey, we could do this too, right? It's not just subject to, oh, in order to be successful, you have to go this way. No, no, no. As creative entrepreneurs, as creatives, as whatever you want to call yourself, what are you doing to change your community's outcome? What are you doing to change your family's outcome? I'm not mad at him. That's a businessman making a business decision, and he's hopping into the algorithm, and it's gonna work. And you'll be surprised how many record labels are gonna try to duplicate that model and scale it out just because of the numbers.
Indeed.
Numbers don't lie. I wouldn't. Let's have a conversation about this in a year, and let's see who does numbers with these AI artists, right? And the cool thing is, right, because it's also happening in the film industry, right? You got metahumans, right? Now you're taking scans, 3D scans of actors, and now you can now be in 20 movies and be on a beach.
That's right.
What does that do? That now you now can do more work. We talked about that earlier, because you're hopping into that algorithm. You don't have to overwork yourself. So burn out on all phases. It makes you care more about your name, image, and likeness. And we're going to talk about that on the next one too, because that's super important, especially with all these student athletes. I'm a former student athlete. I was one of the 1,000 students that sued NCAA because of NIL in the video game, and because I wasn't paying attention to these very things right now.
Right.
I lost out on millions of dollars because we wasn't focusing on this. So I commend people like Timberland, because he's making you hop out your fairy tale.
That's it. Use
your imagination to be more professional and create a real business model behind a product. And that's really where we need to be, because we live we're always in the clouds, bro. We always in the clouds. We ideate the what ifs. We could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And we forget, hey, are you even prepared to receive the money that you're about to be blessed with? That's something that as creatives, we have to focus on. So I think, to end it off, I think that what he is doing is empowering another generation to focus on the other side of the business. Because naturally, as creatives, we know we can bring it. We just have to focus on that other side, bro. And it's the best equalizer that I've ever seen, and could potentially help us close this gap.
Absolutely. Not beautifully stated. And, I want people to understand, there's a popular term, new levels, new devils. But I think the only devil here would be the fact that you're not imploring and exposing and educating yourself on the new ways to get enriched and stop the old devils from becoming your current devil. Brian Burns, AI 101, the evolution of AI and empowerment to learn. This is The Gateway. You have been schooled.
Peace.